if you want to see me powder coat a rear differential cover with the EastWood powder coating system, stick around. So here we have the diff cover for the 79 Camaro, right? Looks like it was chrome before. We're going to sandblast it and powder coat it and see how it comes out, all right? So I'm going to bring it over here to my sandblaster. Let's just pop her inside. We're going to get a lot of noise here. Here we go. So she's inside. You can hear the air going already. Let's latch it up. Let me put the camera on top so you can see what's going on. I don't know how good of a picture it's going to be because it's pretty dirty, folks. Let's put it down here. Maybe that's better for you. Okay, as for sound, well, we're going to have to see how well that works out because I'm going to turn on the vacuum and the compressor is definitely going to cut in, right? So I got my little nozzle here, right? I'll talk about my sandblaster later on. It's a Princess Auto Special modified. So we'll try this out and see how it works, okay? So let me turn on the vacuum. I'm actually using glass beads. I probably should use something a bit more abrasive. So this will take a while. I'll probably speed up this video.
Like a disease, bring me to
So that's it. It's sandblasted. Not the greatest, to be honest with you. I probably could have used a heavier grit. That's a glass bead I got there, so it's not that aggressive, but there's a fair amount of pitting here. I was expecting some pitting and stuff, so I might try a couple of little things, so, you know, a little wire wheel, whatever, because when I powder coat it, it should be able to fill in some of these little minor pits, but I do see some rust inside there. So I'm going to probably kind of treat this with a rust neutralizer, let it soak for a bit, come back and clean it again. I may sandblast it again, get a little bit more aggressive media, and kind of take it from there and see what happens. Then after that, we'll take a gander at powder coating it. I am doing this just as a favor for a friend, and it's we're just kind of messing around type of thing. So we'll see what it looks like at the end. But I'm running my hand over this. Pretty rough, right? And this is pretty rough here. So yeah, there's a lot of roughness there. So we have to do some sanding as well. So we'll see us back in the next little half of this. Well, we are back. I let this soak in the, let's go over here, crud cutter. Say that 10 times fast. So I let it soak in the crud cutter. It's been a few days now. I had other stuff to do. You can actually see, I don't know if you can make it out, but you can actually see some black, you know, here, right? And then I did a little sample sanding, but some blacking. So that's where it's neutralizing the rust, because there's a lot of pits on this thing. You can't obviously feel this in YouTube land, but it is pretty pitted. I actually used my die grinder a bit with this little pad on it to kind of get down some of it. I'll also wire wheel it. Where's my wire wheel? This is one. So I'm going to be doing that now to wire wheel it, get it kind of all cleaned up. I'll hit it with some brake cleaner, getting the oil and grease off of it, and then we'll get ready for powder coating, okay? So let me just get my camera set up, and you can watch me. Safety glasses, hearing protection. Safety first, folks. Okay, I think that's good enough. Remember, I'm just doing this, I'm not charging, I'm just doing this for a buddy of mine, experimenting a bit just to see how it comes out. It's nice to see like what it's going to do with all these little divots and stuff like that once I powder coat it. But you can kind of see there. I know there's some chrome in this because this used to be, looks like it used to be chrome before, but it was all rusty. So it'll be interesting to see how the powder coating sticks to it. But for the most part, Kind of get some brake cleaner and clean it up. It's a regular paint cleaner or brake cleaner from Canadian Tire up here in Canada. Just to degrease it a bit. A lot of crap. I think that should be good enough. Let's go on to the powder coating. So I'll have to get it set up for that. So I'll be back in a second. So we're back, everybody. Let's get my powder coating stuff all set up here. So what I'm going to do, so I'm going to powder coat it over here. So first of all, you see I got a little tray here to hold it. This tray fits inside the oven. You know, most of my oven over here is just a cheap little toaster oven I got on Amazon. One thing I will say here, folks, you don't want to use the oven that you prepare food in for this, right? There's lots of videos explaining that, but I just want to make sure I'm perfectly clear on it. Don't do that, right? So this is an oven I bought. It was a cheap one. It's really cheap on Amazon. It's good for small little parts. Quality wise, it is cheap. Like it's hot on the outside here. You could burn yourself. I wouldn't buy it and put it on my counter at home. But for in here, for me to do this powder coating stuff is fine. You'll see I put no food just to make sure that nobody decides to warm something up in there or whatever. I'm using the EastWood PCS 250 dual voltage powder coating system. I'm located in Canada. Now, this powder coating system, I can't remember. I don't think it came with this gauge, if I remember correctly. Definitely didn't come with this dryer here. So I put all that in. This thing doesn't take a lot of pressure. So I've adjusted this gauge to roughly about 10 PSI, or actually less than that, right? In the US, you can find this fairly easy. In Canada, unless you want to start paying duties and have it shipped across, it can get a little expensive. In Canada, I found a place out in the West Coast, KMS Tools. I'll leave a link in the description. I actually bought it from them. At the time when I bought it, it was on par with the US dollar, right? So it was like 187 bucks Canadian, which was selling for 187 US. So I think that was a mistake on their part. But anyways, I benefited from it. Now it's more than that. It's about 250 Canadian. Yeah, but anyways, it's, you know, if you don't want to go through the BS of duties and stuff, I found this there. Again, by the way, before I even continue on, I'm not a professional powder coater. I'm a hobbyist. I've done a few things. Actually, I've done these. I don't know, some of you may or may not recognize this. This is actually the bracket, the radiator bracket for your 71, 72, 73 Ford Mustangs. So I actually cut it. It's sort of like a candy apple. I don't know how well the color's coming out on this, but it's kind of like a candy apple. And I experimented with it, and actually it came out rather nice, to be honest with you. The powder coating I'm using, what I'm going to do is, my buddy doesn't know that I'm doing it like this. I'm going to powder coat it, and that's it. So I'm going to kind of experiment. Most of the stuff, he's got a white Camaro, and so the diff is black and all that kind of stuff. So what we're going to do is, I think he wanted the diff covered like just black, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually spray it with a silver base, and then then I'll do it with the black to try and get. Again, I'm experimenting here, trying to get like a metallic black. The powder coating material, again, up here in Canada, we have you can get stuff from KMS Tools as well. But when I look around, I don't really see a lot of stuff unless it's going to be shipped from the States and you got to pay duty. That's one of the downsides about being up here in Canada and we want car parts, whatever, sometimes you got to pay duty on it. So I found a place called Emerald Coatings, located in Ontario, Palmerston, Ontario. It's a very small town. I don't know exactly where it's located, but anyways, um, I'll leave the link again in the description of this video. But it comes with specs for this, and basically, again, these specs are also on their website. You'll see I'm actually going to be doing it with FF Super Silver 2, it looks like, and then, but the main thing here is the temperatures it talks about, right? Talks about 400 degrees minimum for 10 to 15 minutes, that sort of stuff. So whatever powder coating you're using, you should get the specs for it, okay? Wherever you buy it from. Again, Emerald Coatings, it's right on their website, tells you everything there. And it even tells you like some curing times as well. So that's kind of important. It looks like it's 400 degrees. My toaster oven over here is warming up already. Let's see what temperature we got. So let me just, let's see if this is going to do anything for us. At about 280 degrees right now. Let's just open it up real quick. 466. Okay, big difference. So it's supposed to be around 400. It's kind of bouncing all over the place. It's cooling down, so I will leave it somewhere around there. Okay. So we'll come back and check the temperature out. So it's kind of hard to do this with one hand, so I'm just going to set my camera up so you can view me do the powder coating. By the way, sorry, I've got some, I got the powder coating in these little jars. Again, on KMS, I actually bought the spare jars. I'll probably get some more. So this way I don't have to keep emptying it out, filling it, empty it. I'm not going to pour this on camera because I need two hands. This stuff, when you're pouring this powder coating, it's like pouring water. That's how fine the stuff is. It's not like even maybe flour, if you can relate it to pouring flour, but I think it's even finer than that. Because when the first time I poured it, I was like, whoa, it almost poured out just like water. So just be prepared for that. And I would, again, suggest that you get separate containers, again, at KMS Tools. I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. You can get it from EastWood as well. I would get the extra jars, and this way you could keep the colors in that you use a lot. I've got, like, I don't have the jars down here, but I have like a red. I have, I think, a blue as well. I'm actually just going to order a couple more just so I have the spare jars around, right? And here's my black. So I've already poured them out, and then I'm just going to screw it into the bottom of the gun over here. Okay, it's a dual voltage. I'm just going to leave it on the low setting right now, and we'll see what happens. Again, like I said, I am not a professional at this. I'm a hobbyist. I'm kind of experimenting and playing along and taking you folks along for the ride. So I'm going to pause this for a second. I'm going to get things set up so you can see me do the powder coating. It doesn't take long. One of the things, actually, before I do it, actually, I'll set it up. I'll come back and explain. Okay, I'll be right back. Thank you. So we're back. I have everything set up. I've got the gun set up. I've got the little button here to activate it. Again, normally you would just press on that. It's not energizing the tip here. I'm not going to touch that because it's high voltage. It's like getting a serious static shock, right? So that's getting energized right now. And then when I'm ready, I'll pull the trigger on this and the powder coating will come out. I'll show you just a quick little example there, right? The idea is to make a cloud, like a little static cloud across the part. Now, normally I just hang this part up in the air using some wire. I decided I'm just going to lay it down and experiment with that. You'll notice over here, I've got my grounding over here, and I'm using a magnet to connect to the underside of this pan. So I'm just going to try it out like this and see what happens. I'm actually going to hold it like this with one hand because I don't, whatever, just the way I do it. So let's give it a shot. Just light powdering. You see it's adhering to it. And you can see there's well, maybe you can't in the video, but there is a fine mist here. And I'm not blasting the crap out of it. You want to make sure you got some good, decent ventilation. I've got a door open. You can't see it on video. I think that's good enough. I'm going to leave it alone. Disconnect my air from it. There we go. Put that down. Now, if the weather was better, I'd actually be outside doing this, to be honest with you, or have a proper air recovery or something like that. If you look at this, it looks pretty crappy, right? Very dull looking and stuff like that. Let me just disconnect the magnet from here. If I walked up to here, if I blew on this, this would all just blow away, right? So you got to be careful. You don't want to be touching this, by the way. Also, before you powder coat, you don't want to be handling it with your hands because the oils from your hand will also affect this. So this is one of the reasons why I washed it down with that brake cleaner, wiped it down, then I did not touch it after that. Make sure you use some rubber gloves or whatever. So I'm going to take it over to the oven right now. I'm going to put the camera down because I don't want to drop it with one hand. So let me just point at the oven. And we'll kind of take it from there. Oh, we want to zoom in. So I don't want to drop this thing. Okay. Yeah, I'm letting it cool down now, so I need to put this in there. I'm going to leave it in there. It's like baking cookies, folks. I'm just going to leave it inside there. And we'll kind of take it from there. All right. So it's out of the oven. You can see some of the serious pitting is still there. Good amount of pitting. I did put a very light coat on here, but you can see it's kind of shiny. All right, I did put a very light coat. I'm going to do the black powder coating now. In hindsight, I probably should have put a thicker coat of the silver on, then a lighter coat of the black. But hey, well, you know, we're experimenting here, right, folks? Let's see what happens. Like I said, this is doing this for free for a buddy of mine. We're just experimenting and trying things out. So I've got things already set up. I'm just going to start doing it now. I've set my powder coating now again to the dual voltage. I cranked it up to the higher voltage, right, to see because just to see what happens. Okay. Again, like I said, I'm not a pro at this, so that's it. Let's go ahead and do this thing. Let me grab the trigger. I think some of the challenges here is getting into the nooks and crannies. Oops, get myself all caught up here. Really get over on the other side here. Side that. Hear that little zap? I got a little too close to it. There we go, getting a little too close to it. By the way, again, there's high voltage going through here, so you want to be careful. By the way, the silver stuff said a cure time of 15 minutes. I only did 7.5 because I was doing a multi-coat pass on this thing. Woohoo! Did you see that, folks? There we go again. Getting a little too close with it. There we go. Okay, I think that's enough for that. Looks pretty dull. Let's throw it in the oven. Got it in the oven now. A lot of glare. So I got to wait for it to get up to temperature. And we'll see how it came out. All right. So I did put on a pretty heavy, thick coat on that one. So we'll just check and see how it goes afterwards. So I'll see you folks back. It says cure time on this. The black cure time is 10 minutes. All right. So it's out of the oven. Doesn't look too bad when you take a look at it. It's pretty shiny, but you still see a lot of the dimple effects I was going for, right? I was only kidding, folks. I wasn't going for it. The parts where it was really pitted badly, you see it. It's almost like a golf ball when you look at it. So I guess, again, like I was saying before, I was kind of experimenting with this to see how much it would fill and stuff like that. Obviously, if you don't want any of this, you'd have to sand it down, obviously a fair amount more. Maybe if I sandblasted with a more abrasive media, that might have made things a little bit better. But anyways, like I said, this was for a buddy of mine, and we're just kind of experimenting around. Like I said, I was hoping to do like a metallic black, but I probably should have put a thicker base silver powder coat and then a lighter base black on here. But for the most part, it doesn't look too bad. You can't, if it's really smooth, I do feel the dimples like a golf ball. And that's about it. I did powder coat other stuff in the past, which I've shown you before. I didn't do a whole lot of sanding on it, but again, it came out pretty good, right? Like I said, I'm not a professional powder coater, and I don't claim to be, but as a hobbyist, it's not too bad. The EastWood system works pretty good for a hobbyist, I guess, and just takes a little bit of playing. Again, I use that oven way over here for it. A couple of things I will say, if kind of moving forward, I do plan on doing more powder coating videos once I get to that part with the Mustang. I'm gonna probably, that oven I got over there is good for small parts like this, and when I start to powder coat parts for the Mustang, it'll probably be like control arms and stuff like that. I'll probably be building my own oven, and at that point, I'll take you folks along with the journey. The other thing I want to mention, I had some ventilation in the garage here when I was powder coating. I probably should have been wearing a respirator. I would highly recommend you do, because that powder coat stuff is very, very fine particles. So you want to wear a proper respirator, have proper ventilation. Follow all those safety procedures and stuff like that. You only have one set of lungs, right? Apart from that, I'm pretty happy with it. Nick, that's the kind of beer I drink. No, I'm only kidding. I'm just doing this for, like I said, for a buddy of mine, and just more for the experimenting, but I'll be doing a lot more of them. That's it. I hope you liked the video. If you found it entertaining or useful, just hit that like button. Also, please hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to, get more subscribers on the channel. It'll help me produce more as well. So hammer on that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. Thanks again. Stay tuned for the next video that will be coming up. And have a great day. Bye-bye.